Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and welcome to the Bourse Report. Well, today we're taking a look at JMMB Group Limited, or JMMBGL, or we just call them JMMB for today's report, as well as its investee company, Sagicor Financial Company Limited, which they do have a 23% shareholding in. Now, the financial results for the full year for JMMB ended March 31st, 2023, would have been posted fairly recently after some delays, and it makes for somewhat interesting reading. Let's take a look at how the group would have done, as well as what investors might expect in the coming months ahead. Turning quickly to that JMMB Group Limited, or let's say just say JMMB for today, the group would have recorded an earnings per share, again, TT dollar equivalent of just around 14 cents, which was a 44% decline from the 25 cents per share recorded in the prior comparable period. Driving this performance was, of course, a decline in operating revenue, which fell 12% from 1.165 billion TT equivalent to just about 1.03 billion TT equivalent. Operating expenses at the same time would have increased by 7.6% from 812 million TT equivalent to just about 874 million. There was somewhat of a decline in impairment losses on financial assets, which was actually a positive driver, falling from 84.9 million to just about 68.6 million. Overall, profits attributable to equity holders did decline around 44% from 43.9 to just about 270 million. Now, not shown on this slide for space purposes, but very important, was a fairly significant decline of around 44% or thereabouts in its share of profits from associate company Sagicor Financial Company Limited, which would have accumulated just about 117 million over the course of fiscal 2023. So certainly some major movements and changes on the operating segment side, operating revenue side. By component, we can see some of these changes in more detail. Net interest income, for example, its largest revenue generating segment, fell just about 5.2% from 518 million in that red column of fiscal 2022 to 491 million. And these numbers are, of course, all in TT dollar equivalent. Also, a very pronounced decline in gains on securities trading, falling from 322 odd million to just about 154 million, so roughly a 50% decline there. There were some gains across some segments. Fees and commission income, for example, did increase 19 odd percent from 111 to 133 million. And foreign exchange margins from Cambio trading increased just around 25% from 114 million TT to just about 143 million. So a mixed bag in terms of operating revenue segment performance, but overall, the direction was lower for the JMMB over the course of fiscal 2023. Now, from a valuation perspective, we can see that on a trailing 12-month basis, of course, these are full year figures, we can see that 14 cents per share, how it compares to prior comparable periods in terms of earnings. And really, we are looking at one of the lower EPS figures for JMMB Group over the past 4 years or thereabouts, notwithstanding the impact of COVID. And of course, they would have had a fairly significantly positive year in fiscal 2022 in terms of earnings. But in terms of their price to earnings ratio, we can see it's just around 10.2 times. So that valuation has continued to fall despite some increases in earnings. That share price has continued to decline. There has been some stabilization in the share price in recent times. Now, at that price of $1.38 per share, JMMB is trading at that price to earnings ratio of about 10 to 10.2 times, below the sector average of 36.7 times, and offers investors a dividend yield of 0.8% compared to the sector average of 5.7%. So probably on the lower end of that dividend yield. Now, keeping in mind that regional diversification, but of course with one eye on those lower operating revenues, as well as financial market volatility, which would have contributed to that decrease in securities gains or gains on securities trading, Bourse is going to maintain a market weight rating on JMMB for the time being. Now, turning very quickly to its investee company, which would have had a pronounced impact on the overall results, Sagicor Financial Company would have reported a fully diluted EPS of 1 cent per share in US dollars, compared to a loss of 57 cents per share in the prior comparable period. Now, take these results with a grain of salt, or a bit more than a grain of salt, given that there were significant changes to insurance accounting standards, particularly IFRS 17, which would have changed the entire reporting structure of insurers, including Sagicor. So overall, a net loss, or net income rather, attributable to shareholders of Sagicor of $1.4 million US, compared to a restated loss of 81 million US in the prior comparable period. Again, those major accounting changes make for some restatement in accounts and make the comparison over time a bit difficult. Now, one of the major notes for JMMB related to Sagicor has been the decline in Sagicor's share price. JMMB would have made an acquisition of Sagicor at around that $10 Canadian price. That share price of Sagicor has fallen to just about $4.44 as at the close last Friday, representing a fairly significant decline in that share price, maybe around a 55% odd decline, of course, and that would have raised a key audit matter in JMMB's annual report, whether or not that position should be tested for impairment, given that the carrying value on JMMB's books at equivalently are just around that $10 Canadian price, whereas the market value is around $4.44. Now, importantly for investors in JMMB, that differential between the carrying value on JMMB's accounts versus the market value of the shares is roughly equivalent to 40% or thereabouts of JMMB's overall group equity or total shareholder equity. So something to keep in mind for investors who are considering JMMB Group as the year goes forward. Of course, those changes to those insurance accounting standards should certainly provide some significant changes going forward, not just for JMMB and its investee company Sagicor, but for all other insurance-related companies. Well, that's it for this week's edition. For more information, you can give us a call at 226-8773 or to Bourse. Email us at invest@boursefinancial.com. And of course, you can check out our website, bourseinvestment.com, where all of our research is absolutely free. And of course, you can catch this article in today's business section of the Trinidad and Tobago Guardian newspaper. Stay safe, happy investing, and we'll see you next time on the Bourse Report.